gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Face in your face.
What the hell is going on down there?
Face in your face.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Latino Diaspora. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with this channel or watching this channel for the first time, what we do here is we discuss issues pertaining to Latinos residing in the United States. I want to let everybody know that we're currently live on Facebook and YouTube. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you are not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, along with those who follow me on social media. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, including the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. I'm going to ask you to subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So tonight's topic is going to be how is disabilities viewed in Latino community. In all fairness, I'm probably not going to be on long, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. So, but we will share some information. And before we get into the main topic, let me just state that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone at any time wishes to hit that link and express their opinion regarding the subject, they can do so. Now, if I don't know you, or I have never seen you before, or hear from you, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that you don't flash anything inappropriate, which will cause the people up YouTube to take down the stream. So what we're going to do is we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, this Saturday, I have the opportunity, and I actually march into what's called the New York City Disability Pride Parade. Now, what is this parade about? It's a parade that's geared to help New Yorkers to gain awareness regarding people with disabilities, whether it be physical, whether it be emotional, whether it be psychological. Okay, so it was an opportunity of people of all different types of disabilities to go out there and make a statement stating that that we need to be respected, that the disabled needs to be treated with respect, with courtesy, and not to be mocked, not to be teased, not to make sport of. So It was a short parade. I think it was about maybe 10 blocks, but it was a statement in itself. And then the statement was the disabled is here. The best thing we can do is learn about people with disabilities and don't make assumptions, okay? Because there are a great deal of misunderstanding when it comes to the disabled, particularly when it comes to people who are visually impaired, okay? Um, what they really want is to be treated with respect. And sometimes when we deal with people who are blind, we don't know what to say. We don't know how to conduct ourselves. Um, the best thing is, first of all, respect their space. Do not touch their cane. Do not touch their singing idol because that's their devices in order to get around. Uh, if you go, if you're going to render assistance, let them decide whether or not they're going to accept your assistance. So, and there's other things to consider when you're dealing with people who are disabled. Just because people may not be able to see, or people may have um, lost a limb, or maybe people who have developmental delays. It does not take away their humanity. It does not take away the fact that these are individuals created in the image of God and they are entitled to their own dignity and respect. So now the next thing I want to talk about is, of course, it's it where the World Series is set. It's going to be the New York Yankees versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, and this has been a rivalry that had existed since the 1940s when the Dodgers played in Brooklyn. Of course, the Dodgers had played the Yankees several times, only to lose to the World Series, some of them in heartbreaking fashion. Of course, all that changed in 1955 when the Brooklyn Dodgers defeated the New York Yankees in its first and only World Series championship in Brooklyn. Now, ever since they moved to Los Angeles, they they defeated the Yankees in the 1963 and the 1981 World Series. Um, in all fairness, I'm going to confess that I have a bias towards the Yankees. I think the Yankees are the better team, and I do think the Yankees are going to win in 6 games. Now, I'm sure that those who are in Los Angeles or in California, most of them are rooting for the Dodgers, which is perfectly understandable. Okay. Both teams have great players, both teams have great pitching. So, of course, whoever performs, the center stage at the World Series better will be the winner of the World Series. And another thing to remind everybody that Election Day is 2 weeks from today. And in many states, they have already begun um, early voting. Okay, so I would encourage all of you to exercise your franchise and vote. Who are you going to vote for? I leave that to your discretion. Okay, who are you going to vote for? Okay, I've made my feelings known as far as who I'm supporting. There is no need for me to continue. I made myself perfectly clear. But in any case, it shall be interesting. And one more thing that I want to say that It's been relatively quiet here in these U2 streets, and which is a good thing. But of course, we all know, any, especially if you've been around these U2 streets, where everything is quiet, it can it can explode at any time because you have individuals who have beefs with other individuals for multiple reasons. Some of them are legit, others are not. It is not my place to determine which is which. And it's really not my place to take sides. Okay. It's been my philosophy ever since I've been in these YouTube streets not to take sides because it can get very messy very quickly. So, so with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Now, I have to confess, it took me a while before I came up with a topic to discuss because I do try to discuss different things as it pertains to the Latino community. And also, there's certain things that I avoid talking about um, because it's too controversial, and people, there are certain individuals that don't know how to discuss the subject rationally without emotion. So tonight I'm going to be talking about how Latinos view the disabled. So um, what I'm going to do is, let's just give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen. Now, like I said before, I'm not going to be on long. It probably between 30 to 45 minutes. Okay. I'm sorry. There's usually some of these sites, they usually have people requesting donations. So this is the United Spinal Association website. Okay. And you can see here, there is a family, and then there's a gentleman that appears to be physically disabled. Okay, so this gentleman is the CEO of the United Spinal Association, and the article calls "How My Experiences as a Hispanic American Enhanced My Life and Work." Okay. The occasion of Hispanic Heritage Month is always interesting to me as someone with a strong and living relationship to Venezuela, the United States, and Italy, as someone with a heavy identification with the disability community. The definition of America is fluid, at least to right-minded people, that I feel a deep sense of belonging in the U.S. while inhabiting multiple national and ethnic identities at once. I am not only Hispanic, an Hispanic immigrant to the U.S., but also the child of Italian immigrants to Venezuela. When I was a kid, I never felt like I was fully Venezuelan. I was called the Italian kid. When I came to the States, I was called the Latin guy. And here's the kicker. When I got to Italy to visit my relatives, Italians call me the American. So this is an interesting situation where um, he's called different things. So who am I? The answer that question through the work I do with my fellow Hispanics, with people with disabilities, and my Atlanta, Georgia community. Of course, our identities originate from things we cannot control, but their meanings are not necessarily fixed. We produce our own identities through the work we do and the people with whom we collaborate on what's important to us. We give these identities meaning through our social relationship with other individuals, with our neighborhoods and cities, and with institutions. I learned about myself as a person with a disability through my lived experience as a disabled man, my work as a disability advocate, my experience running multiple nonprofits, and, and the volunteer work that I do for my church. My community gives me life and work meaning. Likewise, I experienced being Hispanic in America in a similar way. In turn, I impact my experiences as a Latino with the SCI/D to the disability community as best I can, going beyond the frame of being the Latin guy in America to actually establishing maternal ties between people with disabilities in my country of heritage and in the United States. The other nonprofit which I involved with, Wheels Happiness, gives direct assistance to wheelchair users back home in Venezuela. Being a socially conscious Hispanic in America isn't about an immigrant experience in the US, it's also about internationalism. The disability community is global and we need to act like it, especially in times where climate change, authoritarianism, famine, and other factors threaten us, so many of us, with the effects most sharply felt by the people in the developing world. The perspective of Latin immigrants in America does not just shine a light on racism or xenophobia in our adopted homes, it brings a perspective of issues that unite all of us across borders. Moreover, when we turn our attention to our adopted home in the United States, we need to focus on the people who we underserve. My wife and I are extremely lucky to have come here for a graduate school education that pointed us on a upward mobile path. I was keenly aware that this is not the institution for many of my fellow Hispanic immigrants. I hear stories of United States and United Spider members who are undocumented immigrants from Latin America, and they are particularly frustrated and unjust experiences of exclusion of being living in the richest country in the world. It's hard enough for individuals with disabilities to seek out assistance, places to work and live. For those who are recent immigrants, the task becomes twice as monumental. If our identities are given meaning by the practical work that we do with others, and the advocacy on which on we do on behalf of ourselves, we should think about intersectionality the same way. When organizations like the United Spinal work with disabled members of immigrant communities to overcome language barriers and legal threats to undocumented members of those communities and educate, help obtain adequate health care, accessible housing, and opportunities to comfortably settle in the United States that get what such an intersectional practice should look like. In the past generation, Hispanics have been the primary driver of labor force growth. Without us, it would have been a downward anemic. The pandemic made essential worker a household term, and that is precisely what we do. We build, we help feed, and we move America. We also occupy 10% of the managerial jobs in the United States, up from 5% at the beginning of the century, and we are moving on up. On the other hand, people with disabilities have been historically excluded from the labor market, with many of us driven to give up, demoralized, excuse me, an intersectional practice also tap into the dynamism and forward motion described above and link people working for Hispanic advancement in the United States with their peers in the disability community who have been stonewalled by ableism. The vitality of the Hispanic community would not be possible without our best qualities. I feel like a house that always been full of relatives, friends, and neighbors, collaborating, and letting life's ups and downs together. Straddling the individualistic world of the U.S. and more collective culture from back home hasn't always been easy, but it's always been rewarding and sometimes a bit awkward, especially for my kids. Fostering mutual trust and identifying with something bigger than yourself to provide a community of care and support is something that will bring from the Latin America to U.S. society. So it is this multicultural perspective that helped me to realize not only when we come together collectively as a genuine and exclusive way, we can also ensure the maximum possible freedom for the individual and move our society forward. People with disabilities should be able to live independently as possible. For Hispanic people with disabilities, independent living is also a condition of being able to live life as free as possible from racism and xenophobia. Behind lives of performing are complex structures of support and years of anti-racist and civil rights campaigning. The Hispanic heritage much not as This Hispanic heritage much not as pledged to do the work that expands the definition of freedom to match the lived reality of everyone in our communities and replace stigma with an internalized ableism and racism with pride. On this occasion, I'm especially proud to be a disabled Hispanic American. And we're going to park it here. So, I mean, this is an interesting article regarding someone who is the head of a nonprofit organization that deals with the disabled, not just with the disabled, but those who are in the Latin community. Okay, because of course, being a Latino, we do have to deal with with certain misconceptions regarding Latinos, racism and xenophobia, and also when you add the disabilities, it is a double challenge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share one more article. Okay, talk a little bit, and then I'm going to call it a night. Just give me a moment. Okay. So this article that I'm going to share with you is from the U.S. Department of Labor blog website. And the article is about Hispanic workers with disabilities in the labor force. And of course, it goes on with the usual thing that, highlighting regarding Hispanic Heritage Month, which is from September the 15th to October the 15th. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share, this is a graph. Okay. So this figure is this figure in blue represents those who are working without a disability, which are 37,400,000 Latinos. And then those Latinos in the workforce that have a disability of some sort, that's 2,370,000. Okay. So what I like about it describes the Latino workforce, and it states what portions of the workforce is declared disabled. So here are several disabilities. Okay. Now, those who have cognitive disabilities, the number is 423,000. Now, those who have ambulatory disability, basically people who are wheelchair bound or have other disabilities as far as movement, that number is 387,000. Now, as far as the hearing impaired, okay, 227,000 are hearing impaired. And as far as those who are visually impaired, in other words, those who are completely blind or have various degrees of blindness, that figure is 221,000. And then those individuals that have two or more disabilities, that figure is 1,010,000. So it does describe various disabilities. Okay. Now over here, this is a bar graph regarding Hispanic adults with disabilities by gender and by age. And as you can see here, the ages vary from 16 years old to 75 years old and beyond. So among those Latinos ages 16 to 24 that are in the workforce who are disabled, as far as females, that number is 166,000 as compared to the same group of males as 182,000. Now, as far as the age group from 25 to 34 years old, there are 175,000 Latinas in the workforce that's been identified with some sort of a disability. And with their male counterpart, the number is 213,000. Now, the next group, that's the age group from ages 35 to 44. The number of female Latina employees who are disabled, that number is 206,000. And their male counterpart consists of 188,000. Now moving to the next group, it is 45 to 54. Okay, among Latinas in the workforce that are disabled, that number is 282,000 as compared to males, 204,000. Now the next group is those from ages 55 to 64. And as far as Latinos in the workforce who are disabled, that number is 401,000 as compared to their male counterparts, 353,000. Now, the next group is the age group from ages 65 to 74. And among Latinas who are in the workforce, who are labeled as disabled, that number is 383,000 as compared to 285 to their male counterparts. And then the final group, which is the 75 year old and above, and as far as Latinas who are disabled, that number is 525,000 as compared to 286,000 for males. Now, here's another breakdown, which is Hispanic adults with disabilities by employment status, ages 16 and above. So, as far as fully employed Latinos with disabilities, that number is 622,000. And as far as those Latinos with a disability who are employed part-time, that number is 199,000. Now, the next category is those Latinos who are not working but are currently seeking employment. Correction. Not currently seeking work, but wants a job. That figure is 128,000. And among those who are currently looking for employment, that figure is 127,000. Now, this pie graph here shows the different types of employment sectors where disabled Latinos are employed. So out of all that, 601,000 Latinos which are disabled are currently employed for profit entities. 45,000 disabled Latinos are currently employed in nonprofit entities. Among those who are self-employed, that number is 74,000. And public entities, which I believe that would be municipal government or local government, that figure is 102,000. And as you can see here, these are the different industries where Latinos who are disabled work. I'm not going to state the figures because they are there. I will state the following. These are the areas as far as occupation. They are education and healthcare, trade, leisure and hospitality, construction, professional business services, manufacturing, transportation and utilities, public administration, financial services, and other. There could be anything that's not labeled in any one of these categories. And this is a breakdown as far as occupational categories of disabled Hispanic adults. So as you can see here, there are 73,000 of them are managers, 61,000 of them are medical, 54,000 of them in retail, 54,000 on production, and 21,000 in teaching. And we're going to park it here. So the reason why I showed you this to give you an idea what some of the areas where those who are okay that are disabled in the Latino community, um, they work in multiple fields, and the whole point is that to inform me that there are Latinos who are disabled who perform many functions. Okay, and some of them are high tech, some of them professional, and I'm sure some of them are even, those who are blessed with the ability to work remotely. So, all this is to try to um, get rid of some of the stereotypes when it comes to Latinos, particularly Latinos who are disabled. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop to wrap this up. Like I said before, I'm not gonna stay here that long. The whole purpose for me to be here for about 30 to 45 minutes. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna be doing a stream on this channel next week. If I do, it'll probably be a Thursday. Um, Next Tuesday, this Tuesday, will be my mother's birthday. She would have been 91 years old today. But so I'm just going to plan a little something um, as a memorial. Um, I don't know what's good, but definitely I will be discussing sometime next week why I don't observe Halloween. Okay. The reason why I don't observe Halloween is because when I take a look at some of the origins and some of the customs, like first of all, the custom of wearing masks and what have you, the custom of trick or treating, they all come from um, pagan influences. It just so happens that what we've done is that we basically uh, turn it as a holiday for kids to get candy and the people to watch horror movies. I mean, you can do that throughout the year. It's just that for whatever reason, there's certain individuals who insist on watching horror movies during this time of the year, and not just one, several. I mean, if that is how you are entertained, that's fine. But the whole point is that they illustrate how Latinos view people in our community who are disabled, which which I am was temporarily due to the fact that I was recovering with a knee replacement. So with that being said, I'm gonna start to wrap this up. Um, of course, you are more than welcome to watch this on the playback. But I will ask that um, be respectful with your comments, okay? Because if you're gonna make inappropriate comments, guess what? You will be those comments are gonna be deleted. Okay. I will be live tomorrow night at 9:30 on my main channel, where I'm gonna be doing um, a reaction video regarding a woman that because of her conduct She lost a good man. However, I like a lot of people, um, she took accountability for her actions. And what she's doing is basically it's a cautionary tale uh, for both men and women, particularly women, that you know, val- you know, value, value the person that you're with. Be honest, okay. Don't do anything to deceive. Don't do anything to lie, okay. Because, and particularly, I mean, if you're the type of person that you know that you cannot be faithful, um, make it perfectly known, and then it'll be up to the other person to determine how to proceed. So normally I don't do reaction videos, but I'm definitely going to do it tomorrow night because it's very gratifying to see individual, whether it be male or female, take accountability for their actions. This is something that's lacking with many people. So it's really refreshing to see someone uh, to take accountability. And of course, if you have not done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. So, with that being said, I'm just going to wish everyone a very good night. Take care and enjoy your weekend. Peace.
Get strong.